We are here chatting with Barbara Dunkelman and Blaine Gibson of Rooster Teeth. We're going to be talking about Connected, the new Rooster Teeth documentary, where you guys, my understanding, went, what was it, a week without electronics, only using stuff from your birth year, is that correct?
Yeah, it was 5 days, but it felt like...
Okay, so 5 days without... So where did the idea for this come from originally? Like, who pitched it? Where did it come from?
Our doc team here at Rooster Teeth came up with the concept, and they didn't know who they wanted to cast for it, and both Blaine and I were candidates, and they decided that they liked us both so much that they decided to pick both of us.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We did not come up with a concept. We would not do that to ourselves.
No.
Well, it's very interesting, because you're both obviously very social media-oriented people. Barbara working, in social media, that's your shtick. So when they approached you and said, you're going to be doing this, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, how the hell am I supposed to do anything, especially my job? Because if I don't have the internet, I don't have my job at all. I can't do anything. So
I have to ask us, what do you have to do with Twitter? Send a mail to Twitter, can you post this for me?
we luckily have enough people here that they were able to have someone fill in for me for the time being. Yeah, I would do if it was just me.
Yeah, and my reaction was initially it was terror, but then the more I thought about it, the more I thought it'd be a cool, fun experience to take part of. So yeah, I ended up going with it, but yeah. Initially, I was horrified.
Well, I would imagine because at this point, any of us pretty much, I'd say between mid-30s and lower, technology is so oriented into our lives that I was having a conversation just before this. Someone was asking me, "So what's this interview? What are you doing?" I was describing Connected, and they had actually a panic attack and started cuddling their phone, at the mere thought of it. And I was just like, so yeah, and I thought, oh, that seems weird. I'm thinking to myself, I'm 31, and I'm not that oriented to my phone, and then realized I'm holding my phone in a death grip while having this conversation. It's so yeah, the idea of people who social media is their thing. It's just it's weird that's where my brain went first, the social media aspect, not all the other aspects of working with your jobs with emailing and any other things.
Yeah.
What was the most complicated, would you say, aspect for you guys?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
For me, it was definitely the loss of communication with everybody. You definitely felt very disconnected from the world and all that stuff. But the hardest part for me was navigation. I'm really bad with directions, and I use my GPS almost everywhere I go if it's a new place. So that was a little challenging and a little nerve-wracking. So we were both given maps, which...
Physical maps.
Physical maps.
Which
hard day to be in a trailer so hard.
Yeah, I've used before, briefly, but never to actually navigate myself somewhere. So that was a new fun experience.
Yeah, navigation was difficult for me. I think probably the hardest part was totally feeling out of the loop with everybody. You never realize how much you depend on it to get your news and to just get stay in touch with friends and stuff like that. So to not have a phone and feel like you're missing out on just so many things, that was a really big challenge. It was something that was really hard to deal with, I guess. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the connection to people aspect is one of the ones that's also fascinating because it's, again, something you don't really think about as much, but this last week, I've been having, I'm a stay-at-home dad is my daytime thing, and someone was saying to me, hey, if you're having trouble with your kid, you probably just need to talk to other human beings, get out of the house. I'm like, I talk to other human beings. I literally spend more time talking to other people during my day than I do anything else, and I realized I'm doing that online. Does that actually count?
Yeah.
But it seems like once you're disconnected from the ability to talk to people online, that is a huge aspect of how we all intermingle and things like that.
I think it's just a different quality of interaction that they're referring to.
Sure.
I know when we had our technology taken away, whenever we were interacting with people in person, it felt a lot more meaningful and a lot more I don't know a better word for this, a lot thicker than texting.
Everything was juicier, more.
Yeah, it felt more worthwhile and it meant more. So yeah, I guess it's just that the quality of interaction that you experience.
Yeah, for sure. We went on several different tasks or whatever throughout the week, and one of them involved us going downtown and just not having that phone there to distract you and just communicating with your friends like it would have been like 20 years ago. It was like really great. It was fun and there was no distractions.
Yeah.
Well, on that topic, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, do you feel that, I don't know, being without technology kind of taught better, I wish there's a better word I could think of, but it taught you kind of a lesson about your technology use, to maybe cut down when you're out at a bar or something like that, or out with friends?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I walked away from that week with things that I was going to try to integrate, even having technology back, lessons that I took away from only going to, use my cell phone, for this much. And, I was just trying to restrict my use because towards the end, we actually started enjoying the experience. You'll see more about it once you watch the doc. But, yeah, I don't know. We definitely learned a lot of lessons, I thought.
Yeah, for me, it was, I'm always one of those people who I use my phone all day, every day. And I always use the excuse it's part of my job. I need to be connected all the time. I need to know what's going on. If I need to update someone on something. Or communicate with someone about an issue. But it made me very aware of how people use their phones, especially if they're out at a meal with their friends and everybody's, looking at their phones, or if they're out downtown and everybody's on their phone. And so it definitely taught me to pay more attention to people and to my surroundings. And it's like, whatever is happening on my phone could wait until I'm, home alone if I'm bored, rather than I'm out with friends.
With that, actually, do you find that like the retention of the knowledge or the conversation you have kind of like stuck around a little better? Like you actually, I remember talking about that because you're just a little more zoned in with everything, or if they're giving you instructions.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, at least.
No. Same. Yeah. I mean, I've had several conversations where I've been like, yeah, and I'll be like looking at them, and there's like a mental countdown. It's like, okay, when is the next point I can look at my phone and it not be rude to me? That's terrible, but it's it's kind of the truth about this generation, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the weird things we were unintentionally taught, through interactions that just kind of start permeating our existence. I guess you could say.
Like I said it a couple of times during the documentary, but it's ironic that social media makes us incredibly unsocial.
Oh, absolutely. I have noticed with my wife and I that she's never was a Facebook person, hated it with a passion, couldn't understand why I was on it. She had an account since day one pretty much, but she never really used it much. But then with her job recently, she's been using it more, and I noticed we're at the dinner table with our son, and we're both on Facebook, and my kid's just sitting there, and I just look around like, what the fuck is going? What is this world? And then we finally had to do something I never thought we'd have to do, but put a no screen time rule in our house during certain things, because it was just, you don't realize again you're doing stuff until suddenly you look around the world.
Yeah.
The lack of socialness. But go ahead.
What aspect of this project surprised you the most?
For me, I think the biggest surprise I had was that I'm not like half the ladies' man that I think I am. Without dating apps, that's like my main means of communicating with women. And I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a challenge that has to do with talking to girls. And it was very hard, and I might not have passed with flying colors. So you'll see more about that, but that was definitely shocking. It's really hard to date in the traditional way, without technology.
For me, I think the biggest surprise, I don't even know if it was a surprise, to be honest, was how lazy I am with acquiring information and, for example, wanting to cook a recipe one night. It's like I can't just Google something or look up on like some recipe website. If I want to find something, I need to drive to a library, park at the library, walk in, look for books, like write down the recipe or take out the book or like bring it back home. It's like a 2-hour process of something that could be done in an instant. And it was something I did not want to do and had no desire in doing at all.
My first thought right there was, wait, libraries?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to find a library offhand. So
Exactly. And that's like something that is so true amongst a lot of people in our generation. It's like, ask all the people where a library is. Are half of them going to know where it is? Or none of them going to know where it is?
I feel like it would be I think the predominant people would be the combination of either one half being like, I have no idea where a library is, and the other half being like, wait, those still exist, because it's such it's sad, very sad, but it's a foreign concept, I think. The last time I was in a library, other than like an event kind of thing, was maybe 15 years ago.
Last time I was for school.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
That's exactly.
College. That's it.
Oof, weird.
Very.
Okay, well, what do you hope, is there a message you hope that Connected kind of conveys to people, like maybe a lesson it teaches, or maybe just anything that people get out of it?
I would say, I hope it just kind of makes people more aware of how they use technology and how they use, especially their phones. Because it's become so socially acceptable to be talking to someone and be going like this at the same time as you're talking to them on your phone. And I don't know. I don't think it's the way we should be. And I think people have become so, I guess, infatuated with social media and technology and always looking down and missing out on what's happening in the world and what's in front of them. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I can really say it better myself. I mean, it's just having phones and technology. It's kind of an addiction, and I hope that this kind of like raises awareness on the fact that you're missing out on this whole world in front of you in favor of this little screen that's just in your hands. So, yeah, I hope people actually try to take on the challenge of maybe going a day or two without their phone, or just like limiting their use and just kind of seeing how it helps, or how it feels at the end of the day.
I kind of it reminds me anytime I go to an event, and it could be a concert or wrestling match or whatever you go to, or big, yeah, I had to throw in a wrestling match.
Of course you did.
But most people are just watching it on a secondhand experience through their phone, whether you just put it away and just
you see people at concerts like this, just filming on their phone, and it's like you could just watch with your eyes. You're there.
That's always my big thing. Like Justin mentions wrestling. I was watching a wrestling thing this weekend.
Or RTX.
Or RTX is a good example as well. But see, RTX or conventions in general, that bothers me a little less when people are on their phone or filming stuff, because that is more of there's a personal aspect of that.
It's a very sharing experience.
Yeah, but that's you're sharing your vantage point. Like what they may be filming is they might be filming the floor from their perspective or something like that. When you're at a concert or a sporting event or something like that, and there's some big thing happens and you seriously see 100,000 phones out. It's like, okay, just go home. You're going to find a significantly better video. You don't need your personal video of that. I don't know. I look at them as different things, and maybe that's not right with my brain.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I think part of that too might be this is kind of off topic, but just proving that you were there. And we kind of touch on this, that social media, it's a lot of dick measuring, basically. It's you go onto other people's pages and you're like, holy shit, this person has such a cool life. And it's it's like their
that
highlight
person's
reel.
probably thinking that of everyone else.
Right.
That they see.
So I think, whenever you see those people taking those photos, it's just so that they can maybe prove, not go away from the experience being like, wow, that was a lot of fun, but more like, wow, I need to show my friends how cool I am.
Yeah, they need to see how much fun I'm having.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that aspect of it. It's a very, I don't know, the whole dick measuring thing of social media always just, I don't know why, surprises the hell out of me. But I'm on there all the time, and I'm like, I follow people who are various levels of celebrity and things like that, to look into their personal lives. So I'm really no different. It's all these aspects of cutting out electronics, cutting out social media, and cutting out all these things really kind of just, I don't know, it's been opening my eyes planning for this interview. It's been opening me to all these things that I do, both positive and negative. And that's my takeaway. And I haven't even watched the documentary yet, so I'm actually looking forward to it to see how it actually changed my thought. Yep. You have another thought, Justin?
Oh, you hit me on a very blank state right now.
Of course I did. No, that's what I specialize in. Is I'm like, I'm in a blank spot, so let me throw it at Justin so he can then feel awkward.
Take it away.
Stare vacantly.
I'll pass the buck. Why not?
If you got nothing, I can move on.
Move on, because I think everything I have, we already asked, or covered in one way or another.
Well, yeah. I think really that's the thing is we kind of covered a lot of what I wanted to go through, a little faster than I would have liked, but it's just a fascinating thing. So when is Connected premiering? Like when can people actually watch it?
They could watch it starting April 15th, which is next Friday, and it's available only to sponsors on roosterteeth.com.
All right, so only sponsors. So make sure if you want to watch it, that you go get a sponsor for Rooster Teeth. I've had one for years. It's worth it.
And you can sign up for a free 30-day trial.
Oh.
Which, you could do the 30 days, and if you don't want to keep it, you could just cancel it and not have to pay for sponsorship.
And then and then you get to check out this lovely little, this documentary and watch Barbara and Blaine struggle without social media. Who doesn't want to watch that?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think Matt has a quote in the documentary that's like, "I love to watch them suffer." Or something like that.
Well, that's got to be something. Okay, that's actually one thing we could cover. I don't know if it's covered in the documentary itself, but your coworkers and friends' reactions to this. What was that? I mean, were people making fun of you, for the ability, or was people supportive, or somewhere in between?
There's somewhere in between.
Some of them definitely tried to fuck with us a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we both had answering machines and landlines, so you can imagine what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beepers. We both had beepers.
I was about to ask, did you rock the beeper?
Oh, for sure.
Now, with the answering machine curiosity, did you go fully back to the old tape answering machines? I don't know if it's spoilers, or was it just like a standard, digital one?
To find them.
Yeah, those aren't available really anymore. They kind of had to adapt some things, we had to get modems in order for our phones to work.
Sure. Well, I was like, some technology has just got to be near impossible to acquire. Like, I have an old answering machine with a tape thing in it. I don't know why. I can't. I have a beta player too, but that's that's a whole other problem.
But no, they decked out our whole apartments very in the times.
Yeah, they were very thorough. Yeah.
That's actually really awesome. I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about is seeing what was considered proper technology, like what you are, and I guess the surprise of holy shit, I have to use a beeper, holy shit, like those kind of reactions. I think that's the most interesting aspect of this, other than the 9 other times I've said this most interesting aspect, which I think I've repeated a few.
It's
all interesting.
It is. But with that, I mean, is there any piece of technology that you use time and time again, or older piece of technology? It's like, I remember this, that you just picked up and what's this?
What is this?
I mean, in the doc, the beeper was a pretty steep learning curve.
I had never used a beeper before.
I didn't even, to be honest, I don't think either of us really understood the concept of what the beeper did.
Yeah.
And it just learning that was day
How do you
1 and a
send
half.
a message?
Yeah.
You just receive numbers from numbers, and you're like, what?
I called the number that's on my phone. It was very strange. And then just explaining it to our other millennial friends that don't remember how beepers work or anything. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. But then we also we had some gaming systems that I know I had when I was a kid, like the Sega Genesis and the NES and stuff like that.
There was definitely old pieces of tech that it's as soon as we touched them, it was nostalgia, and it was everything came back to us.
Yeah, like TVs with the channel dial on the actual TV. You're like, whoa!
Yeah.
I still love those kind of TVs. They're absolutely sadly useless with modern TV, but God, I still love them to this day. They were fun. You get that clicks. They make clicky sounds. Who doesn't love clicky sounds and stuff like
Getting
that?
a signal was a family event. Come on.
Very true. But is there anything else related to this you guys want to plug or touch on before we wrap up? You can think of the feel.
Yeah, I mean, just check us out on April 15th. Go look at other Rooster Teeth content while you're there. Enjoy your sponsorship. And
there's a lot of new sponsor content coming out, especially this summer. A lot of really cool projects we're working on. So it's never a better time to be a sponsor than right now, starting April 15th.
For sure.
I think starting April 15th is definitely a good time. Plus, you're leading into RTX, and that's a great time to be a sponsor because all the fun stuff that happens with Rooster Teeth through and after the event.
Totally.
But... well, Barbara, Blaine, thank you for joining us for a little bit to chat about Connected. As you heard, everyone, you can, again, go check it out on roosterteeth.com on April 15th. And we'll probably see you guys again at RTX coming this summer. So, thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much for your time.
All right, bye, everyone.